Hey guys, welcome back to Parkitect. So in the last episode we finished Ice Shelf Islands, so we're going to go from a snowy landscape to a beachy theme, and I said I was going to do Biscayne Beach. So the description reads, a bustling beach city provides a strip of land for the development of a theme park, under the condition that all rides have to be free. The winters can be rainy, but otherwise you can expect perfect beach weather. So it does tell you in the description the rides will be free. So that means it's only park entrance. So I think this is the first time we've done this, actually. Experience rating, 80%, 600 for guests in the park. Cleanliness rating, 75%. There's probably a goal or a reward tied to that, and then end at year 2 of December. Which I'm going to 100% ignore because I have to. It's my decoration run for this campaign series. So let's quickly pause and see what's up with the map. I do like how aesthetically pleasing this map is. Actually, I like the buildings and stuff. This is like a warehouse of some sort. It looks like it's a lot of repeated templates. Most likely, yeah. I think Josh made this one, not Sylv. So we start off with a simple parking lot in the front. Oh, here's the beachy area. Okay, so beach is pretty large. That's cool. So we start off with a depot right off the bat. So I'm assuming the big depot is over here. Oh, it is. And it looks like we have 2 sets of... Oh, I can buy this land back here. Ah, I see. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to use this back area. I don't think I'm going to do it. Because I think I can cram everything into this strip of land. Now, how wide is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's not bad. It's 12 units. Okay, I can deal with that. Rides to choose from: carousel, Ferris wheel, spiral swing, teacups. Clockwork. Okay. Swinging ship twister. Already then. Junior mini wooden. Probably gonna build a wooden right off the bat. No transport, log flume. So we could build right off the bat a wooden, a log flume, and some other things. Restaurant choices: hot dogs, soft drinks, your typical stuff for like a Paradise Pier-esque map. And then now scenery. Ooh, we got some different options here. What do we got here? We got steampunk, I see. But it's not gears, is it? No, I don't get gears. So this must be brick walls. Yeah. Yeah, I have the brick walls, which is fine. Brick walls are always a good thing to use. And then actually fantasy? Do we actually... Oh, we do. We actually have fantasy items. I haven't used those in a while. Those might be useful. But there's really not a lot of scenery to pull from. So we have to be careful in that. We're starting with $22,000, which is good. I haven't checked the loans. Sometimes the game likes to pull out a loan for you. Well, I do that on my scenarios, but I think there's one scenario that does this. And no, these loans look okay. Nothing too crazy. But overall, I think we're going to have a blast doing this one because I want to do a Paradise Pier-esque type of map with a wooden coaster in the back here, and maybe, cross our fingers, we can fit in a dark ride. If I get a dark ride, that's the question. I could use the mini coaster as a dark ride, couldn't I? That would be useful. Yeah, it's not going to be really like... Well, it's going to be themed heavy, but it's going to be like very sporadic theming. But overall, I think this is going to be a good one. So let's get on to building this Paradise Pier. Okay, let's get to work. So the first things first is to figure out my anchor, or what I'm exactly doing to this map, because the theming around in the outskirts of the map are not really... They're just more generic, I don't know, beach buildings, and then the beach is there, and then you have all the landing. It's pretty good, but there's nothing really like concrete of what I'm trying to do. But I've already discussed this before, that I wanted to do a Paradise Pier style park in a way, kind of taking off the beats from that. That's technically speaking what I want to do. So in the front area, I removed the depot first because I wanted to move it down the boulevard because I felt like having a food stall in the beginning wouldn't help, so I put it more towards the center of the park, which actually helps with guest flow toward the other rides. And it was kind of made sense to make some type of plaza. Here, basically, I'm experimenting on seeing what I want to do. There's really no sense of direction yet until I get toward the middle of the map. I get a sense of direction. So sometimes maps tell me what they are going to be, and sometimes they don't. So I'm just kind of messing around. But I kind of wanted to have a Ferris wheel in the center as my centerpiece, and then kind of decorate around and make some type of plaza with the colored pathways. I know that Sylv did this with his Biscayne Beach. I kind of took a look at that and I was like, I kind of like that idea. Maybe I can plus it in a way. So you'll see some changes on the plaza later. But at this point, I'm just going to cover the twister because it always does need to be covered, especially in this weather. It's going to be super hot. And I was just kind of guessing around what to do with that, but nothing too concrete at the moment. The one thing I did find annoying about the scenario, I keep forgetting about it, is that the edge of the one side of the park border, you can't put pillars exactly on that grid section, so you have to kind of place them freely. I find that annoying, 100%, but I think that's just how the game generates, I don't know, the borders of the park. It's for some reason the collision box is in the way, so it is what it is, so I have to just deal with what it was there, so that's what I did. Yeah, see, I'm just still messing around with pieces. You can see I'm kind of bouncing between different styles of stuff. So first I did string lights, and I'm like, well, that doesn't look beachy enough. So I went and actually did the orb lights and actually just placed them down. Those are always so hard to put down because you have to have such patience to do it, right? So I had to go all the way around, place them, and then voila, there you go. But at the end of the day, it looks really good at night, so it's kind of worth it. So here comes some of the plus that I was talking about for the plaza. So since it's a summer theme, might as well do sunshine, suns, and stuff like that, and beachy themed. So there's a sun on the floor, and then I wanted to connect the corners of the pathways to make it more cleaner, and not all these straight edges. And I really do like this plaza. I really like that you can do that with the regular shapes in Parkitect. And also with the same beat of doing suns, might as well make the Ferris wheel like the Sun Wheel from California Adventure, where it used to be called the Sun Wheel, now it's called Mickey's Fun Wheel. So it's just a miniature version of it, just an opposite version. Well, it's not opposite, it's just the side. How do I say this? Vertical? Yes, vertical. Oof. Vertical side of a star type of thing, looks like the sun. And then I'll later actually put some orb lights on it, but first I had to put the wooden coaster in because for the longest time I didn't know what to do next. And so I think the wooden coaster needed to be put in to help with finding out my anchor points for where the park was going to kind of lead. So it's kind of the objective to do this, and I built a very simple out and back wooden coaster, nothing too crazy. The layout for the coaster actually changes a couple times. No, not a couple times, just once over. So right now I just finish it first just to get the layout done, and then open the park and let the guests start walking in, because I knew that this is all park entrance only playthrough, because this park, this scenario doesn't let you use money, or use money for paid rides. Oh my gosh, I can't find my words. Yeah, but that's what it does. So I wanted to at least get this ride up and running, and then at least have 3 attractions for my guests to walk in. So I think I priced it at like $10 at first and see what happens. But you can see here I am going to be doing the triggers for the Ferris wheel with the sun decoration, and I always think it's worth it to do these trigger effects because it brings some life and some more detail to your park. It does take some time and some patience, I'll give you that. So the sun just kind of, I don't know what you call it, has a pattern going in from the center to the out, and it just repeats on nonstop, and it looks cool. I like that it does that, and it just gives a bit more character to the Ferris wheel. Because Ferris wheels are, technically speaking, in this game are very, very boring looking structures or rides, so it's just more fun to kind of see that. Also, while finally getting my bearings at this point, I did some faux buildings, trying to figure out what I want in this area, and I like the idea of bringing up the pathway and making an actual water walk, even though it's not even near the water, or like a whole bunch, like I don't know, about maybe 100 feet away from the water actually in this map, so kind of weird to have a boardwalk, but I felt it was appropriate to have a raised platform and have two different sets of paths. So you have your high deck where the restaurants and some rides are going to be, and then lower deck would be your walking path for guests to continue onto another attraction or another restaurant or whatever it will be. But that's kind of what was the objective there. Had to go figure a cover for the wooden coaster, something very simple, nothing too crazy. In this map, I was kind of focused on simple beach amusement park look, so like Coney Island and any park that's built near a city. It's like very, very simple, very cheap. But I still wanted to like throw in those details. So the details would be that adding those cylinders on top of the roof to cap it off, and then adding borders. Adding orb lights is also that. So even just a simple cover like this is still highly detailed. It's always the objective for me. I don't know, it's just kind of how it goes, or the detailing that I do in particular. But I think it's a nice, simple cover. Nothing too crazy. And it does the job. It keeps the coaster station from getting wet, because that's the objective here. So, had to figure out, again, that I've noticed in this map right at this moment is I did a lot of changing my mind last second or changing my mind during the construction phase, and I think that's okay to do because you don't always have to be perfect on the first one when you're making something. It's always good to experiment and test out some things. If it doesn't work, it's okay to delete it, because I think that stops players from working on stuff that are long term, especially like a big map. If you started a big theme park project and you don't get far because you didn't like how the last land you built was, but it took you 20 hours to do it, so now you've stopped. But maybe it's okay to stop for a second and then look at it, and if you have to start over, you have to start over. You shouldn't be ashamed to do that. So I did kind of that in this map a lot. Built something, looked at it, changed it. Yeah. So here's the point where I actually changed the layout for the coaster. I made it longer. I had another section to loop around. So instead of it's an out and back, it's an out and it comes back a little bit and goes back out and then comes back. I don't know what you would call it. I think there's a term for it. I would call it a twister at this point, because it kind of goes in around itself. And doing that actually upped the excitement and the nausea a little bit, and the intensity actually. And it allowed me to have two trains, and the trains were calculated quite nicely actually with each other. And it just added some more interest to the park on that back end, because the wooden coaster is basically my backdrop for the entire park. So here comes one of the most elaborate carousel covers I have built to date. So you've seen me do Tiki, you've seen me do a Norse themed one with thatched roofing, you've seen me do, what other ones have I done? Did I do a Jurassic World one? No, I didn't. That was a teacup. But I wanted to make a old-fashioned looking carousel cover, and to also achieve to make it look like it was completely round around the carousel, and try to hide the edges of the platform that the carousel sits on to make this more organic. So this is me trying to break the game again by trying to get rid of the grid field of Parkitect and then see where I go from here. And I'm quite pleased in the effects of this. There was a very hard part with the roof, you'll see in a couple seconds. You'll see when I start working on that, but I just did my simple pillars at regular regular 90 degrees and then 45 degrees and then went from there. And then to pull off the round top is to just do cylinders instead of squares, just trying to give it that feel. And add some texture actually, because it has these ridges, and I think I like that look from it from the get-go, so I did that. I also used shapes on the floor to cover up the corners of the platform. That actually made it pretty cool looking and kind of made it more organic, and then covering up with grass really solves the problem, and everything looks like it blends it in. It's invisible. I think that's really cool. So this is here testing. Basically what you see here is me goofing off and figuring out what fits and what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, it goes away. I change up my strategy and go from there. So I try to show this as much as possible in my time lapses. Sometimes I cut it out because I don't want you guys seeing it, because it's a tedious process going back and forth between different ways of doing stuff. And in the midst of doing stuff like this, you do find out what you can do, and then you invent something new. So I encourage everybody to try this and at least stick to it, because something amazing will happen when you find a little nugget of cool design or using pieces in an abnormal way, because I can guarantee you I haven't found all the cool ways to use pieces. I still find every once in a while on the Discord or the Reddit that someone has found a way for a new piece, and I'm like, that's pretty ingenious. I will try that next time or something. So I encourage you guys to do the same. So to go with the curved platform, I had to go do custom fences to kind of go with that to help with the curvedness of it. I do like how the carousel sits. It looks really nice and just more organic looking. But I had to literally do, well, I had to do that first. But then now here comes the hard part, is the roof. So this is where everything starts. This hurt because it took a good, I want to say 30, 40 minutes to figure this out. So if I'm trying to remember the sizes I used. So I think I used 0.18 cylinders. Don't quote me, I don't remember. But I wanted to make sure that they were kind of staggered a little bit so that they had ridges. And then the only thing I had to figure out was this triangle bit, like the connection between the two or the four sides that already finished. That was the hard part, figuring that out. And so it was kind of testing. That's all you do is test out, trial and error type of thing, and then cap it off. But it does turn out great after I figure it out and kind of just fudge some pieces, because I don't think this is how a real roof would work in real life. I think there's some different way it would have done it. Maybe if I did the triangles first, maybe it would have looked different. I'm not sure. I might experiment with this type of cover again for flat ride in the future. It's always a chance to, because I will always at this point build a carousel in my park. There's no question about it, unless a map says there's no carousel in the beginning. But at this point, the last 5 scenarios has a carousel, so I've built a lot of them actually at this point. I might as well make a collection on the Steam Workshop called the Carousels, and you can see all the different carousel like covers, because there's at least 10 of them at this point, which is kind of funny. So you can see now I kind of finished and capped it off and figured out I can do this, I don't know what you would call it, that's a border that kind of helps hide some of the weird shapes and things, and then added a different type of domer on top. And I'm quite pleased with this roof. I like how unique and organic it looks, and it's completely different from the other custom roofs I've done in the past. So I'm quite happy with that. And then on to completely custom doing the lights with the orbs, just to give it some more life. And there is a wonderful looking blue carousel now in Biscayne Beach, and I quite like it. It looks pretty nice. Yeah, I'm just going to continue doing more lights on the pillars of the things, and then we're moving on to the next set of buildings, and this is going to be the actual plaza area. You can see there's a lot already been built because I built a kind of off camera, kind of just to see how the park would be running better, and at this point the park's running significantly well. Paid for entrance is kind of OP. I've found out. It just feels OP. I can charge pretty high for only a handful of attractions and guests still walk in, so I'm happy with that. And also the food stalls I can price higher than I usually, so I think the hot dogs went up to $8 and the drinks were like $6, so I can charge an arm and a leg for drinks and food, so I'm happy. That means more money for me to decorate with shapes, right? So that's what I did there. So these buildings are going to be modeled after some of the buildings from Paradise Pier. So these are like old-fashioned Renaissance, not Renaissance, more like seaside buildings, carnival type wooden structures. I don't know, very out there. They're not out there. They're just very generic looking. Shoot, what's the theme? 1920s type beach theme park, basically. Yeah. So I just kind of copied the same color palette actually from those buildings. I switched them up from the different types of roofs they have, and then just went from there. The motion simulator actually off to the right hand side will actually get a cover too, because I put that in just to generate more guests, because every time you place a flat ride, I think some type of random number gets generated and guests come into the park, and then that's like an influx of guests. But for like the most of the playthrough, I had like 300 to 500 guests. I know that I need 600 guests to kind of complete the scenario, so I had to figure out what was my last known or last ride to add, or what rides to add to continue to bump up that number. But right now the park seems to be operating really well. You can see in the screen on the left hand corner I have 23,000. That's easy money for me to use and just decorate to my heart's content. I also didn't want to go overboard because the theme of this whole park was to be more cheap looking, but yet still full of detail and some whimsical. Yeah, whimsical. Kind of seaside amusement park. It's not really a theme park, it's more of an amusement park. It has themes kind of clashing through each other. Like I had the swinging ship with a small, very small piratey area. There's a pirate bathroom actually covered in a thatched roof. So that's very basic. And then you have these Main Street type buildings on the other side. So again, no themes are cohesive here. Everything's clashing. But for some reason it all fits well, because you know what it is. It's a seaside amusement park. So it kind of fits together and it's kind of acceptable, versus if this was a theme park or something, right? Like if Disney did this, people would be completely like, what is this? So it's kind of funny how some of these things portray themselves when you kind of put them together. It's kind of funny. I don't know. I just find it interesting, actually, how that turns out. But had a fun time building those buildings and placing on their orb lights. And then I thought it was fitting to add the word Biscayne Beach on the side of the coaster, like Cyclone from, I think, Coney Island. Was it Coney Island? Shoot. I should have researched this before starting the video. Yeah, Cyclone. I think that's in... I forgot which park it's from, but someone's going to tell me in the comments. I know it. But Cyclone is a wooden coaster I used reference from. It's the same color scheme, actually, for this coaster, which I call the Biscayne Flyer. So, just felt like it was appropriate to have the name of the amusement park on the side of the building, or on the side of the wooden coaster's lift hill. Seemed right to me. So we're coming toward the end of this section. We're going to go do a live tour very quickly, but right now I'm going to do the quick cover of the motion simulator. And this building was completely not cohesive with the other buildings because might as well make it sci-fi themed. So I was able to cram in at least a couple different themes in here, because it's, again, an amusement park. And it's just going to be a spaceship with stars, and it's blasting off, and very generic building. Look at that. It's just... I like it. It's actually one of my favorite buildings, even though it's like actually very simple technique. Shapes, stars, spaceship prop, done. So that was it. So I want to quickly let you guys go. We're going to do a quick tour of how the park's operating at the moment. Okay, here we are in Biscayne Beach. So I'm just going to see how the park's been doing. The park's actually been doing really, really well. And I'm realizing that when you have a charge ticket entrance fee for a park, it's actually very OP. So it's very hard in the beginning to make money, but in this case it seems to be very easy to make money because I have like $35,000, making a $1,900 every month at this point, and I think I researched almost everything in this map, so the sky's the limit. I have most of the scenery actually, I think, researched at this point, except for I don't have Candyland, Medieval, or Spooky, which is fine. But here's the entrance to the park. I did a very simple cover, or not a cover, it's more like a simple area, just trying to figure out my grounding rules and my anchor point maybe, and then I kind of went crazy as I went this way. But I do like the carousel cover. It's completely different from what I've done before. Here's a quick little nighttime shot too, because it actually looks really nice at night. This was really hard to do. This took about an hour or so. Yeah. So actually over here we're going to be doing some... So the next stage in the park is... I said I wanted to build a dark ride, but I don't know if I can pull it off, because I have this under part of this coaster. I could put something underneath and hide something, and I thought to maybe make a ride like the Tunnel of Love, because I got the Calm River ride and I think that would be appropriate to kind of stick here. We will see. I hope that helps with the generation of guests, because I still have about 400 guests right now, and I need... How many do I need? 600, so I'm about 200 off. So hopefully build a Tunnel of Love style ride right underneath here where the tunnel is, and then maybe stretch this way, and I probably have to build something back here, maybe a flat ride, and then I have to cross over. So I didn't think I was going to do that this map, but actually I can go buy land now. Actually, let's go do that. Let's buy... How much do we want to spend? 3K? Honestly, we can buy the whole lot, couldn't we? Here, let's just buy about $6,000 worth. Okay, that's fine. So now I bought land, and yeah, maybe we'll make a bridge over and then do some other like themed area. I was hoping, well, I do have a dark ride. I have a safari ride. I would love to make a dark ride for that. Maybe that can fit back here actually. And then I don't know if I want to build another coaster. I think I want to build either a steel or a water coaster. I'm not really sure. I know that I would love to build a shuttle coaster, but shuttle coasters don't work in Parkitect. Well, there was a way. I can't remember what was the reason. There was a way to do it in vanilla. I need to go ask somebody. But I think there is a way. I need to go test that out off camera. But so far, this is how the park's kind of turning out to. I kind of like how it's what it's becoming. I really like this. This is my favorite thing actually. There's the motion simulator and the space sign here for it. But I have to finish up these little pieces here, finish up some fencing here, incorporate this ride better. I don't know if did I research all the thrill rides? I don't think I did. So I need to go research more thrill rides, because this is all I got, is this, and Wipeout. It is what it is. So yeah, we're going to continue building. I want to do a Tunnel of Love, and then hopefully I can fit another coaster in, and then go across the street to the next plot of land, and then build more of the park, and maybe another dark ride, or maybe that's where the last coaster will go. We will see. So let's get on to building. On to the next section of the park. So this time lapse is going to be very simple, I'll just let you know, because there's not a lot you're going to see, because I cut out at least a good portion of stuff because I was messing around and not really focused on finishing some things, or I was just being indecisive. But I knew one of the things I wanted was a Tunnel of Love type attraction. I don't know the history of why these exist, but apparently they made these attractions so that young couples can go and have a good time in the Tunnel of Love. And so while I was researching more gentle rides and things to fill in my park's missing areas, because I needed to fill up the park as I went down the boulevard, I got the gentle, calm ride, river ride. And at this point I haven't built one in the campaign, so this was kind of very fitting, and they're already pink, so I went for it. And I like that I put it underneath the coaster near one of the covered tunnels that I built. And I think this was like the best and weirdest looking dark ride I've ever built. I mean, it's considered a dark ride because it's dark. It doesn't use any lights, but has no scenes, I don't think. Maybe it has hearts and flowers and maybe candy on the walls, but honestly, it's like a very generic ride. And so I had to go figure out what it was going to look like. So I covered the platform with pink shapes to get rid of that orangey station cover, because I wasn't going to cover the station. And then I had to go figure out if I was going to make some type of giant heart for the entrance, and that didn't work out for me. So I had to go change that up and change my sense of direction. So in this section, actually, you're going to see not as many edits, because I want to show you what changes in the design process. You can see that I'm going to build most of it right now, and I get a feel for it, and then I don't like it, and I delete it, I start over. And so I do that actually a lot in some of my builds. I build it up, I look at it, I let it sit for a second, let it like grow on me. If it doesn't do anything for me, I get rid of it and I start over. And you can see here I kind of built the facade. I built this giant pink wall, and the first thing that I thought was weird was that it was one flesh edge, and I wanted to have some concave and some like edges showing more, and so I wanted the center to be more prominent than the sides where the tunnels are, and so I had to change up the things. And so that's what I did. I kind of started over from there and then made my new walls or facades near the tunnel entrances of the ride. And then while I was doing that, I was like, maybe I should do a gradient of pink to give it a, I don't know, gradient feeling. And that actually hooked it for me, and then I went from there, and then the rest is history at this point. So next would be to just add the not the flowers. Well, I could have added flowers. Oof, missed opportunity. Well, I added hearts and things. I used these pots from the adventure pack to add some different shape instead of just using just spheres. And then I went from there, and then figuring out my sizes of the hearts, and then figuring out the different colors that I needed, and so just throwing those all around. And then a giant heart to have the sign that says Tunnel of Love on it, and then cover that in lights. And so I'm quite happy how the heart looks, and it's quite cool that Parkitect can pull this off, because we haven't had those 45-degree angled shapes. We didn't have those before, did we? I'm trying to remember, did we have them in the release of Parkitect? I don't think we did. They came in because of Boons and Blooms. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. I'll have to go look this up later. But there's the heart, and then I need to figure out the fences around the ride. Might as well use picket fences because it kind of matches this weird theme. It's hearts and things and pink and purples. Just, I don't know, it's a Tunnel of Love. It's a very weird looking ride. I changed the flooring for the station because I wanted to make it checkered to give it a little bit more character. That actually helped a lot. Kind of breaks up the one color flatness of it. That's always I'm always trying to fight, is getting rid of that plain colorness of a surface. So if it's a giant surface and it's just one color, it just looks off to me, and I want to add either another texture in there or another color to kind of break it up and then go from there. So that was an experiment actually right here for the tunnels, to add some different border to it. It didn't work out for me. And then I didn't change anything else. I'm just figuring out color differences and figuring out what the next thing to do. Yeah, that's it. This is kind of like at the end of the build. As I get close to an end of a project, I do less and less actual building, and it's more of changing the color or changing one little detail here and then stepping back and then giving myself a moment and be like, yeah, it's done. But I let the projects tell me when they're done. I don't necessarily actually plan to be done. I just look at it and be like, oh, it's done. It looks done to me. And then I move on. But if I do have another idea for that project months later, I might add to it. I've done that before. That's especially with American Adventure, how many things I've changed in some areas, actually, which I should really get back to working on. And I will. So here comes some of the end, another end cap. So this is, what is this ride? Skyfall. So I got a Skyfall during research, and I felt like making it kind of like a ripoff of Maliboomer from Top Adventure. Funny thing is that when I was building this, I also researched Drop Tower, and I was like, oh, well, now I don't. Now I have Launch Tower. Now I have Skyfall. I was too lazy to just switch them out. But at this point, actually, this ride actually pushed my guest count over 600. So just adding these last two attractions, or I think it was 3. I added a Wipeout, Tunnel of Love, and then a Skyfall. It kind of pushed everything over. And also, on top of that, the decoration rating for the entire park is extreme. Like, it's 100% immersion. Everybody's having a good time inside, and went from there. So I knew that Coaster Bead made a Maliboomer type launch tower on one of the diorama challenges, and I looked at it, and I wanted to see if I could up the ante. And so I took tires, made them red, stacked them all the way up to the top. That took a good 20 minutes. Then added the scores for it, and then I wanted the bell to be more accurate to the actual one from Maliboomer, so I found a way to add some light effects to it and then add my own twist to it. But I like how it looks and add some character in the back here. But I did buy, it's so funny, I bought land across the road near the deliveries building, and now I don't need it, and it's like I wasted that money. But again, I'm also generating a ridiculous amounts of money in this park, so it really didn't matter for me. So it's funny how I'm trying to be prepared and then I don't use that preparedness. It just doesn't happen. So it's either a happy accident or just how it is. I made these sound wave things on the side of the bell with the... Shoot, I forgot what that key's called, right below the 9 and the 0. Percentices. Oh my god, I can't even pronounce it. You know what I'm talking about, but I have a hard time sometimes with words. But I use those key strokes to match the sound waves, and then squares or cubes to do some of the, like the... I don't know, Maliboomer has like lightning coming off of it. That doesn't make any sense. It's kind of just like a electrical form coming off of it, and so it's the bells ringing. Which doesn't make sense for the Skyfall, because the Skyfall climbs up slowly and then drops. But a launch tower goes up really fast, and then it could be that, but whatever, I'm kind of just don't care which ride. I just like that it was a tower that I can decorate. I am having a fun time decorating flat rides, and this is kind of a way to do it. So I did simple orbs. Those are orb lamps all the way up to the top. And then I triggered every single one of them to slowly climb up, or as quickly as I can. There's no faster way for them to go up faster, because I can't make them go faster than, I don't know, a millisecond. I don't know what you call this, but it doesn't go up that fast. But you can see I'm just triggering all of it. That took a good 30 minutes to do all of it by hand. I don't know how many lights I placed. I think I placed more than 100, maybe 200 lights. But I had to go and just do that because I wanted that animation effect, and then when it got to the top, the bell would ring and would kind of flash a couple times, and then there you go. The only thing that it would be missing is that it should actually make a ring sound, because the one at Maliboomer, my co-adventure, did make a ringing sound whenever a vehicle hit the top. It actually made a ringing sound, and it was actually one of the cooler details for that flat ride. But rest in peace, Maliboomer is no longer with us. But It was also a ride that was very prone to breakdown. So again, not the best flat ride, but it was a cool concept. So I encourage you guys also to decorate your flat rides. I think it's a fun thing to do, actually. Just take them, decorate them, see what themes you can incorporate with them for your themed areas. Because most of the flat rides in this game are very generic looking, so you can easily theme them, and voila, you got what you got. So we're gonna head over to the last tour of the park, and I'll show you all the cool little nicks and knacks of the park. Okay, welcome to Biscayne Beach. Man, this was just a blast working on this scenario, because things finally clicked toward the end, and I'm surprised how much I was able to cram into such a small space. But let's just start off with the first entrance area. It's not really a main street, is it? No, a main street considers buildings, but I have one building here for a restroom and then a cover for the twister. And then I built that very simple looking sun plaza with this Ferris wheel with a sun animation with the lights. Something that I haven't done really focused on in most of the campaign. I did some effects controllers on Coral Caldera with the Jurassic Park themed area. But yeah, this is the map so far. The only thing that I have found difficult on this map was generating guests, but it seems like I am well above the 600 person goal. So I got that goal just a couple minutes ago. Well, in my time, not in the time lapse, but in my real life or real time. I got that just a couple minutes ago, finished up some last touches on the park, and then went from there. So we have a twister, Ferris wheel, carousel. This is actually like one of the most elaborate covers I've ever built for a carousel, and it was a struggle, but I like it. I like it a lot. So this is really cool to have. Actually, I just remembered. I got all the goals for this one. Oh, this map only took 9 years to complete. It's fine. There's only one coaster in this park, by the way, which is actually quite weird. Like, I didn't think I was able to pull this off with one coaster, but placing it on that last flat ride of the Skyfall pushed it over significantly, which was weird. But it happened. Just continue on down to the actual boardwalk area of the actual park. Man, these guests are really chewing up my food supply. I really should bump up the cost. That's okay. I have like 6 haulers. They can just sit there and supply more stuff to it or order more food. It's all good. But we have our very typical like beachside buildings plus a sci-fi building to house this motion simulator, another restroom, and then we have our typical swinging ship and a spiral slide. The swinging ship is just a very small little has a little pirate area. But man, this crowd is a lot of people here. This park is overflowing with people. Here's our basic wipeout that I've put in almost every map at this point. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I have one on every map. Okay, so next is the Tunnel of, because every amusement park on the beach has a Tunnel of, and it just was fitting. And I got the Calm River ride, and it was just a perfect match made in heaven. So there's our simple looking Tunnel of Love. I mean, it goes underneath this all right here, all underneath the coaster, but it looks good to me. And the last ride that I put in was a Skyfall designed after the Malibu Marine California Adventure, because why not? It works for my theme, and making this little animation was fun to do. I like to do more of this effects stuff because it just brings more life to the game, and just brings more life into the park and the game, and just it's fun to do. I don't know, it's just something to do. I don't know, I just need to wrap up my thought. Funny thing is, I bought land, and I thought I was going to expand back here, and it didn't happen. So yeah, I bought it for no reason. But I mean, I can buy all of it right now because I have lots of money. But I was going to build another dark ride, but I don't feel like I need to now. I think the park it's telling me it's done, and I feel like it is. Here, let's look at it at night, because nighttime also looks pretty nice too. So here's the park at its full night glory. The one thing that I would probably have done, and I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna custom light this entire track like I did with my American Adventure coaster, but I'm feeling really lazy about it, and I don't want to. It would look nice, I know it would, but I just feel lazy right now, and I'm not gonna do it. So I spent a good 30 minutes on animating this, placing these lights, and then I think this one over here was a good like 30-minute animation thing too. But placing things by hand takes a while, and I'm not going to hurt myself today. So, but yeah, this is Biscayne Beach. It's a completed park. It looks really nice on the seaside, and it actually just fits really well. So let's quickly save. Let me actually rename it and call it finished. Save. And then quit. Let's go see what the trophy is. I forgot what the trophy is. I'm guessing it's the entrance, but I don't know what it is. Oh, it's not an entrance, it's a building. Oh, like one of the buildings in the background. Okay, neat. Cool. I never noticed that. Oh, so we do get more options? Oh. Oh boy, we have 3 choices. I'm gonna put this on a poll then. I'm gonna let you guys decide the next map because, oh man, I don't know which one I want to do. So the choices would be Happy Co Harbor, which is that negative decoration rating one. Highway Hijinks has a highway in the middle, so you have to build 2 parks on, well, it's 1 park with a bridge, but you have to build on both sides of the highway. It's not that hard one to deal with. And then Honey Hills, which is a mountain one with a flying coaster. So yeah, I'm going to put this on a poll as soon as the video's up. Yeah, we'll either do Happy Co Harbor, Highway Hijinks, or Honey Hills. Every single one of them starting with an H. How funny. Alrighty then, so one of the 3 H's, you guys get to pick the next map, and I will think of something for whatever theme, because Harbor is going to be a hard one to do because I can't really think of anything at the moment. Highway Hijinks, I was thinking about doing like a Legoland or Toontown style thing. And Honey Hills was going to probably be more medieval, but not like a different medieval, but I'm not really sure. But all in all, wow, that's wow, I didn't even get, you got 3 choices. This is exciting, isn't it not? I'm excited. So I want to thank you guys for watching and hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. I want to thank my Patreons for the continued support. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can. There will be a link in the description below. And we're going to continue chugging along onto this campaign, but there will be a poll up for the next 3 maps. You guys get to choose, and I will then maybe start working on one as soon as I can. It will be a surprise for you guys what map I pick because, well, the poll will end, but then, regardless. We're going to move on, so I'll catch you guys in the next episode, and I'll see you then. Bye.